Facts we can't ignore, bringing you much more. Breaking news, HQ, always here for you. Trust the word we share, news beyond compare. Breaking news right now, turn the volume loud. Headlines top the charts, we inform your hearts. Breaking news, HQ, always here for you. Trust the word we share, news beyond compare. Every story counts, watch the views amount. Breaking news, HQ, always here for you. Trust the word we share, news beyond compare. In the fast-paced stream, we're your trusted team. Facts we can't ignore, bringing you much more. Breaking news, HQ, always here for you. Trust the word we share, news beyond compare. Breaking news right now, turn the volume loud. Headlines top the charts, we inform your hearts. Breaking news, HQ, always here for you. Trust the word we share, news beyond compare. Every story counts, watch the views amount. Breaking news, HQ, always here for you. Trust the word we share, news beyond compare. In the fast-paced stream, we're your trusted team. Facts we can't ignore.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Breaking News HQ. Tonight we are discussing an update from Hurricane Helene. We're glad everybody's here. Welcome. Tonight we're going to do our best to update you on what is going on as far as Hurricane Helene and what we know so far. Of course, they're doing updates, and as you know, hurricanes can change fast, so we're going to do our best to give you an update on what's going on and let everybody in the know. So welcome in, come in, so we can talk about Hurricane Helene, and we appreciate our fans and are glad for everybody to be here. in the chat, let us know where you're from so we can discuss. I'll try to go over the areas that you're in and what the outlook is for this hurricane so we can discuss more of what's going on with it. We zoom out a little bit on our radar, what we're looking at, where as of right now it's 1700, it is where the hurricane is currently located at. And we'll look at while we're looking at, we'll look at several different models of what the hurricane looks like and what each of them predicts. How's everybody doing tonight? I hope everybody had a good Wednesday. Definitely had a good day here. You know, hoping everybody out there did as well.
And we're not just following the hurricane, but also a lot of tornadoes, big tornadoes have been popping up in areas where they're expecting to get all this rain and crazy stuff.
Alright, I'll pull up the radar right now. You can see all this stuff around going through Alabama, Georgia, and South Carolina, all that, and through Florida, and all this stuff down around Cuba, but mainly this stuff in Florida, Alabama, Georgia, North Carolina, South Carolina, all that is coming from Hurricane Helene. It's the stuff spinning off of it. You can see Hurricane Helene down here around the around Guatemala, this area off this tip right down here. That's actually Hurricane Helene. Let me get the hurricane tracker back up for a second. So here you can see this is the current location of Hurricane Helene right now, or it's at 1700. The pressure is, the winds are at 74 knots, and I'll be honest with you, I'd have to go do a conversion for knots to miles per hour, but that's what's at 74 knots. So if anybody knows what can do the conversion of knots to mile per hour, I'll be glad to tell people. I don't deal with knots very often, so. But you can see right now where they're showing it. They're thinking it's going to end up being, right now it's a Category 1 hurricane still. They think somewhere around 2 a.m. Thursday morning it's going to become a Category 2 and strengthen all through the day tomorrow. It may even strengthen through the night and hit Category 2 before then. But they're thinking it's going to be a Category 4 hurricane when it goes in. Right now the cone of uncertainty is showing it between Panama City and basically Tallahassee. But if you look, they think it's going to come in somewhere around Apalachicola. Woo, that's a tongue twister to say, especially with my southern accent. Thank the Lord it's not over here. Why, Hitchcock. I'm doing my best not to murder the names of towns in Florida.
It's Homosassa area.
And the Homosassa area. My wife is better at the Florida names than I am. My southern accent.
Oh no, I screwed up the Florida one earlier.
So my southern accent tends to get in the way of me saying these names. So, but everybody, welcome in. We're going to do a little more talking about that as I pull some more stuff up. But this is just a good, easy way to see kind of where we're at right now. You can see tomorrow about 1400 at 2 o'clock, 2 p.m. It's going to be, they think it's going to be off the coast of Tampa. I don't have a scale, so I don't know how far. That's several miles. It's not even, they're thinking it's not really going to get close to the Tampa area or even the east coast of Florida. It's going to go up in through the panhandle unless something changes dramatically. As you know, these hurricanes have a tendency to change fairly quickly. So, you know, we're hoping. Well, I won't say we're hoping because, you know, anywhere it's gonna go, it's gonna be bad. But we'll stay away from. Maybe it'll go through an unpopulated area of Florida. I'm not as familiar with the Panhandle of Florida, those towns up there, but I know Tallahassee's a fairly big town. But they're also saying that when it comes through, it's gonna be so strong that even by the time it gets up around Atlanta, it's still going to be like a Category 2 hurricane. But you can see as it goes, I'll zoom out a little bit, you can see it, the way they're thinking it's going to go is it's going to go up through the Panhandle, through Georgia, through Atlanta, and then go up through Tennessee, and then kind of curve to the left. But this is a humongous storm. If we go back out, let me change to what we're looking at. We'll go back to the storm itself, or to the radar. You can see it's the way it's spinning and the way it's already affecting up through Washington D.C. and Columbus, Ohio. It's going to be a big storm, and once it gets itself situated and begins to form, all this stuff is all part of it that's going to form. So you can see it's going to be a big storm. So, you know, it's going to be, everybody's going to have to be on the lookout. We do have, I'll switch things for a second. The National Weather Center put out a flooding map. Oh, this was updated at 5 o'clock. This is the flood map. I was making it bigger. It's not letting me interact with it and zoom in on it for some reason. But you can see what they're looking at for storm surge along the coast of Florida as of 5 o'clock today. They're looking in the Tallahassee area and where it's coming in at around 15 to 20 foot of storm surge, and they think that's going to go all the way down, that storm surge, to just north of Tampa. So, and even in the Tampa area, they think the storm surge is going to be 5 to 8 feet. So it is, here we go, there, I got it bigger. So they think it's going to, you know, affect all of, even though it's not going to come into the Tampa area, Tampa is going to be dealing 5 to 8 foot of storm surge. So, and if this does come in as a Category 4 into wherever it goes in at, if it changes or whatever, it's going to be a nasty storm. I mean, they're talking, I heard someone say earlier that this is the largest storm surge maybe in history of any hurricane producing. So it's definitely going to be something to watch. And if you're in that area, you definitely want to be on the lookout and listen to your evacuations and stuff, because if the storm surge does get that high, it is potential for a big problem. So just keep your eyes out and listen to what the local news are telling you, and you know, if you need to evacuate, please evacuate, because you can't fight flooding. Winds you can withstand, but flooding is not an easy way to deal with it. So we ask that you do listen to your local officials. Now we're still 24 hours out from it even getting close to the mainland of the United States, and unfortunately, as we all know, these storms can change pretty quickly. So we just have to keep an eye out on it and see what we got. So I was gonna go back into the storm center. So let me pull up some other stuff that we have. So this Mike's weather page, it does a good job of it. He pulls stuff from NOAA's Hurricane Center, but he does a good job of consolidating stuff in one area. It's always a good go-to, that and tropical tidbits of when you're watching a hurricane. Now there are rumors that there is a hurricane forming behind Helene, that they're seeing, what they're seeing is there's another storm forming behind it, so that's not working for me real well. So let's see if I can. I'm not sure we can even. So here's the probabilities as of 5 o'clock today of what the storms, the wind speeds are looking at. It's not letting me scroll down. So everybody, we're still looking at the radar. I'm gonna try to pull up some the most updated stuff for you. I'm trying to pull up the the wind speed map. If you give me just 1 second, I'll have that up for you. Again, hopefully everybody's having a good day.
I think one of the most shocking things is that all these tornadoes keep popping up, not just in Tornado Alley, but where these storms are expected to hit.
Right.
So not only do these people have to worry about the storm surge coming in, but tomorrow is going to be the worst day, really, for it.
All the stuff that you're seeing even today up there around South Carolina and Georgia and Alabama and Virginia, all that's creating storms. I'm going to pull up in just a second I'm going to pull up all the warnings and stuff that we currently have going on in that area. So here you can see currently where all the warnings and stuff are. In the southeast. For some reason my windows aren't wanting to be nice to me.
They don't like you.
I guess. It won't let me interact with them for some reason. Okay, we'll do this. we're seeing, maybe this will be an easier way for us to see it. Sorry, we're still trying to work out with the multiple screens. This is the wind. What you're seeing on the screen now is the wind speed predictions for Hurricane Helene. So what we got now, you can see that as it comes in through Tallahassee, they're looking at 90+ mile per hour winds. So you're looking, if it gets up to a category 4, it can easily be between 125, 145 mile per hour winds. So we'll see what happens with that. If what they are predicting is going to happen or not. But that's right now. This is what we're looking at as far as hurricane wind. That may be, I don't know if that, yeah, it's in mile per hour. So we'll see what we're getting with that. We have another hurricane. That's the hurricane they're talking about this morning. They think may come in across Mexico and follow Hurricane Helene up through maybe the same pathway that it's currently going on. So some other things that we're looking at right now, rainfall potentials off of this hurricane. You can see here what you're getting as far as hurricane, the rainfall potential, what could possibly be the amount of rain coming off of this storm. And it's even looking like Atlanta at between 8 to 12 inches of rain. So that can be potentially a really bad situation for even in like Atlanta up through Knoxville and Chattanooga area. That could be a significant amount of flooding. Now, you can see, this is down the center line of that predicted cone of where they think it's going to go. So you can see as it follows up through the Tallahassee areas, it can still shift, as we all know, to the east or the west. So we'll continue to watch that. But right now, this is what they're predicting the rainfall to look like for Helene. Now, I was going to show you. This currently is what the National Weather Service is showing for watches. All these areas in the southeast currently, we have all kinds of watches and stuff going on. And if you'll tell us in the chat kind of where you're at, we can tell you what we're looking at in your area. So that it might be easier if you have an area that you're interested in, please don't hesitate to let us know, because I'll definitely, if I can find it, then that way we can find out what's going on in your area. So,
and also, don't just assume that you're in an area that doesn't get hurricanes or tropical storms, because we're seeing at the same time as people are focusing on the hurricane, they're disregarding the fact that there's really, really intense bad tornadoes
right,
popping up everywhere throughout the Midwest, to Tornado Alley, in like the plains, to even on lower in the south where they're waiting to get the storm surge, and that's even scarier.
Right. It's it's not just the hurricane that does the wind and stuff with the hurricane that does all the damages. It's all the pop-up tornadoes and stuff that you get with it that causes a lot. The flooding. The wind is as much damage as the wind can do. It can also, you get the flooding. There's not a whole lot you can do for flooding. I mean, so you'll see flooding come in, and people think they'll be okay, and then the next thing you know is they're not. They're flooded out and they're up in their attic waiting for somebody to come to pick them up. So, like for instance, this is what we're looking at right now in the upstate of South Carolina, the Greenville, Anderson, Spartanburg, up through western North Carolina, even through part of Tennessee. You can see some of the major impacts that they're looking at for that area off of this hurricane. They're talking around Greenville, South Carolina, even up through, I think that's Tryon, North Carolina, 10 to 15 inches of rain off of this storm. So it's bringing a lot of moisture with it. It's going to cause a lot of rainfall, and I don't think it's moving particularly fast. So it's going to sit over top of areas and rain for a long period of time, especially since it's such a big storm. So definitely something to be on the lookout for and to watch the weather. If you're in the Florida area, Georgia, Alabama, South Carolina, Tennessee, even Mississippi areas, this storm's so big, you need to be on the lookout for the next couple of days for the tornadoes and stuff that are generating off of this storm. So, you know, always be on the lookout and be vigilant about what's going on in your area while these storms are happening. Let's look and see if they have anything new from the National Hurricane Center. So from the National Hurricane Center, here's what we're looking at. Let me refresh it, just make sure they haven't added anything. The new experimental cone of where they're showing the hurricane to go, you can see on your screen, hasn't a whole lot changed. It's still coming in about around the Tallahassee, south of Tallahassee area. So definitely something that, again, that area needs to be on the lookout. They have hurricane warnings all the way down from Tampa, all the way as far west. It doesn't have the towns on there, but just west of Tallahassee and in that area. And you can see you have tropical storm warnings all the way as far north as the western North Carolina, so all the way through western Georgia and the entire state of South Carolina at this point. So here we'll see kind of what they're thinking of the arrival times of the winds are going to be. And it looks like they're thinking that around tomorrow morning around 8 a.m. is when it's going to get close to making landfall. So that is where we're at right now as far as the arrival time on it. And it's going to move all throughout the day tomorrow up through Georgia and through South Carolina. Of course, again, like we were discussing just a minute ago, it's a large storm, so you know, even though the eye of the storm may be in South Carolina tomorrow night at 8 p.m., the actual storm is going to be all the way up through Michigan and Illinois, Washington, Virginia, all those areas. So all those areas are going to be impacted by this storm, by the rain and whatever winds are left over. So that's, you know, that's kind of what we're looking at with that. So it's, again, this is a huge storm, so don't let it fool you. I mean, they're even right now, we saw footage earlier in Tampa, around a hospital in Tampa, where they were putting up the flood barriers around the hospital for the storm surge. So just because the storm's not coming through your area doesn't mean you're not going to be impacted by it. So, you know, everybody needs to be on the lookout for what's coming up in their area, because this storm has the potential to be ugly, especially if it gets as strong as they think it's going to get, and it could get to be a Category 4. So,
and these storms can just, it's all about hype in the beginning, and then it turns out to not be so bad. Or then they say it's going to be real bad and they evacuate a whole area, and then last minute it takes a wicked turn and goes to an area where they weren't prepared.
Right. So it's unfortunately, you know, it's kind of like what's the storm. This storm is very almost like what we saw last year. I can't remember. Unfortunately, I don't remember the name of the hurricane that came through Fort Myers last year in the Tampa area in Florida. But it got strong so fast, and you know, people weren't prepared in Fort Myers. They weren't thinking it was going to hit Fort Myers, because all the weather forecast said it was going to go in through Tampa Bay, and you know, they thought they were going to get rain and stuff in Fort Myers, and it ended up decimating Fort Myers, which is, by the way, is a very pretty town. It's a shame the destruction that it caused for that town, but if you be prepared, even if you're anywhere near the area in the cone of uncertainty of where it could hit, even though they think they have it nailed down to where it's going to go, be vigilant, because it could change at any time. During the night, you know, it can move east or west without even anything happening. So anybody knowing. So So I'm gonna put up a video with some live coverage of it so you can kind of see a little bit more of the stuff in action. So give me 1 second and I'll have that up for us.
You guys, I'm starving. What are we doing for dinner tonight?
So as you can see in this video, that it doesn't have any sound with it. So you can see the hurricane going up through. Right now it's a Category 1. Like I said, they think around 2 a.m. or tomorrow morning it's going to get up to a Category 2 and strengthen all the time, all day long. By tomorrow afternoon, they think it's going to be around Category 4 with 130-mile-per-hour gusting winds before it makes it to Tallahassee. So you can see it's going. They're expecting, and once it gets in the Gulf and hits those warm waters of the Gulf, they think it's going to really take off. We were reading earlier today where it said that the temperatures of the Gulf right now are 30 degrees warmer than they typically are. And the warmer, I'm not sure how much history of people know about hurricanes, but the warmer the water is, the more conducive it is for the storm to get stronger. So, but also the problem with that is too, it'll also make it speed up faster as well, and it can make it change directions. It can, once it hits that warm water, it can do all kinds of crazy things. So we'll like I said, continue to watch that and see what's going on with that, because again, this storm could do anything overnight once it gets into the Gulf in that warm water. So we have to continuously be vigilant about it, because we don't want to take a chance of somebody getting caught off guard from it. So we're going to go to Tampa and see what they're saying about the storm as well.
O'clock tomorrow afternoon, the winds turn more southerly and then southwesterly. That's why the surge really starts to come up in the afternoon for tomorrow, and then you can see it'll slowly be falling apart. Now, how does that affect us here specifically? Let's head over to Helene right now, and she's going to take a closer look.
Thanks, Bobby. Yeah, so going county by county here, it's very important that you know the difference of the storm surge between you and your neighbors, because we have big changes here. So as Bobby just mentioned, the latest updates, we have a surge 10 to 15 feet expected for Citrus County, and then 8 to 12 feet for Pasco and Hernando County. Now we're going to move down to Tampa Bay. I did want to notice the winds. Notice the winds 50 to 70 miles per hour, could even be stronger than that, now that we're expecting this to intensify to a Category 4 storm ahead of landfall. Going into Tampa Bay, we have 5 to 8 feet storm surge expected. That did update. That update is about normal to what we had earlier today. And thank you, Bobby. My graphics weren't advancing there. So there we go. And then we also in Sarasota, Manatee County, we have 4 to 7 feet of storm surge that is expected. So that remains about the same. Now that did update earlier today, but with this latest 5 o'clock update, that has not changed. And then moving into our inland locations, we are still expecting some severe weather out that way. Not necessarily storm surge, but you have to be aware that these are counties that are getting brushed by those outer bands where we have those strong winds, and that's where we could have some isolated tornadoes start to spring up as well. Of course, we are keeping you updated online through your hurricane headquarters, and anytime you have a question, please make sure you go to our website, download our app, so you have that information in the palm of your hand.
Yeah. All right. So let's start right there. I'm going to start with tracking this where we're looking at it right now. We got those 5 p.m. numbers. Shows that it was at 85 mile per hour winds, right? And you can see the bigger picture there. This thing is looking good. It really is. It's getting a little bit better. There is some dry air kind of mixing in just a little bit right around the center, but not a lot. And we do expect it to continue to intensify as it goes through the evening hours. Now, that's all of the recon that's out there right now. We've got plane, that's Lakeland Linder. That's our NOAA National Hurricane Center. Miss Piggy, that's what I'm trying to think, and Kermit. Those are the name of the planes coming out of Lakeland Linder Air Force Base. They're also flying flights that are around it. So they're not only looking at the storm itself, but they're flying flights around the storm to see what the atmosphere looks on top of it and in front of it. And because of that, that data all goes into the models, and you get a better model solution in theory, right? And you do, and that's why they do that. So here's that track I just showed you. And this has been an increase in wind speed. Now, again, when you see these numbers, they look scary. 130 mile per hour winds, that's by tomorrow afternoon, right? That's going to be right near the center. It's going to be in a small area right in here, okay? We are way over here. We will not see those winds. But it could be close to 130 right there, at least some of the highest winds, probably be 100, 120 as it makes landfall for most areas. And that will be tomorrow evening just after sunset. Unfortunately, it looks like near the Tallahassee area, right? Just along their coast there. There you go with the blue. Look at the blue on this. That is tropical storm warnings that go up into the mountains of North Carolina. That's how far, because it's such a big storm, and when it goes on land, it will weaken, but that wind field spreads out. So you take those real high winds, 100, 120, 130 mile per hour winds, plus all the other wind, and you spread it all out as it falls apart. And that's why you get, that's amazing to see that. All right, now let's talk tropical storm forecast models. You can see most of them do take it up there towards the Tallahassee area. Not too concerned about a wobble. There will be wobbles, but what's going to happen is this thing's going to pick up speed. It already has started. It was 10 knots earlier. It's now 12. It's going to continue to pick up a little bit of speed, and once it does that, it usually gets kind of on a beeline and it can get going to where it needs to go, right? All right, so surge, 5 to 8 foot for the Tampa Bay area. We will see winds generally in the 40s and 50s with gusts to near 70 miles per hour. Higher numbers right along the immediate coast. Look at the surge, guys. This is huge, and you need to pay close attention to this. 5 to 8 in the Tampa area. 8 to 12 in Pasco. Now, Jen Titus is up there in Citrus County. Good news, but kind of. That number has come down to 10 to 15. They had 7 last time. We're thinking 10 to 15. So even if we get 10, that's going to be, 3 feet more than what we had last time. So it's going to do a lot. Here's the timing. All of this, the weather gets worse tomorrow afternoon, tomorrow night, and then in the evening hours, obviously. We will get better early Friday morning. That's the surge. This is for the Tampa Bay area because it's the tides in St. Pete. But look, the surge starts coming up early in the morning. But really from about 3 or 4 p.m. through about 2 in the morning, that's when we're going to see most of it. So I went from 10 p.m. to 2 a.m. for the peak, but that's 5 to 8 foot. So a lot of this is going to happen overnight, but you will notice those water levels coming up. This is the reason why right here. Look at the yellow. That is a large swath of tropical storm force winds. The larger that is, the more water it can push. And then watch as we get towards about 2 o'clock tomorrow afternoon, the winds turn more southerly and then southwesterly. That's why the surge really starts to come up in the afternoon for tomorrow, and then you can see it'll slowly be falling apart. Now, how does that affect us here specifically? Let's head over to Helene right now, and she's going to take a closer look.
Thanks, Bobby. Yeah, so going county by county here, it's very important that you know the difference of the storm surge between you and your neighbors because we have big changes here. So as Bobby just mentioned, the latest updates, we have a surge 10 to 15 feet expected for Citrus County and then 8 to 12 feet for Pasco and Hernando County. Now we're going to move down to Tampa Bay. I did want to notice the winds. Notice the winds 50 to 70 miles per hour, could even be stronger than that. Now that we're expecting this to intensify to a Category 4 storm ahead of landfall. Going into Tampa Bay, we have 5 to 8 feet storm surge expected. That did update. That update is about normal to what we had earlier today. And thank you, Bobby. My graphics weren't advancing there. So there we go. And then we also in Sarasota, Manatee County, we have 4 to 7 feet of storm surge that is expected. So that remains about the same. Now that did update earlier today, but with this latest 5 o'clock update, that has not changed. And then moving into our inland locations, we are still expecting some severe weather out that way. Not necessarily storm surge, but you have to be aware that these are counties that are getting brushed by those outer bands where we have those stronger winds, and that's where we could have some isolated tornadoes start to spring up as well. Of course, we are keeping you updated online through your hurricane headquarters, and anytime you have a question, please make sure you go to our website, download our app, so you have that information in the palm of your hand.
Yeah. All right. So let's start right there. I'm going to start with tracking this where we're looking at it right now. We got those 5 p.m. numbers. Shows that it was at 85 mile per hour winds, right? And you can see the bigger picture there. This thing is looking good. It really is. It's getting a little bit better. There is some dry air kind of mixing in just a little bit right around the center, but not a lot. And we do expect it to continue to intensify as it goes through the evening hours. Now, that's all of the recon that's out there right now. We've got plane, that's Lakeland Linder. That's our NOAA National Hurricane Center. Miss Piggy, that's what I'm trying to think, and Kermit. Those are the name of the planes coming out of Lakeland Linder Air Force Base. They're also flying flights that are around it. So they're not only looking at the storm itself, but they're flying flights around the storm to see what the atmosphere looks on top of it and in front of it. And because of that, that data all
So I was just, as we were watching this, I was going to go over, I was looking at the areas of all the states right now that were getting storms off of this. As you can see on the radar swirling around what the current warnings and watches are right now. In Florida, we're not all just hurricane, tropical storm related warnings, rip current, hurricane warnings, stuff like that. No tornado warnings right now in Florida. And Alabama, we're looking at flood warnings. You know, of course, related to the next couple of days, related to the hurricane and some rip currents down towards the coast of Alabama. Georgia, right now, we're looking at wind advisories for tonight and tomorrow and the next day. Of course, with tropical storm, but no tornado warnings or storm, thunderstorm warnings or anything like that are currently in place in Georgia.
Got a lot. Is that tornado warnings too?
Yeah, right now we're not seeing any. I looked in all the states in the southeast, and everything is flood warnings and stuff like that. We currently don't have any thunderstorm warnings or tornado warnings associated with
I
any
think
of
it
the
was
states.
either Virginia or West Virginia.
Let's
And then yesterday was Lorain County, Ohio, and Indiana.
Right, we had yesterday in Indiana, Ohio, we had some really nasty weather and with tornadoes and such. So it's all part of that weather is up there too. Now we do have in West Virginia, we do have strong thunderstorm warnings. It'd be an issue for West Virginia. It says impact Summers and northern Mercer and southwestern Monroe counties. But I'm not. I think that may be some of the stuff coming off of the hurricane that has worked its way up there, but it may also be part of those storms from yesterday as well. Virginia, currently we have no active threats or warnings. So let's see what Tennessee we have. Tennessee, there's currently no warnings as well. So we can see across the south, in the southeast, we got a bunch of stuff going on associated with the hurricane and tropical storm warnings, depending on where you're at. But nothing right now indicating strong storms or tornado warnings or anything like that right now.
And of course, I don't mean to interrupt. I just was gonna chime in that one forecaster I was watching was saying that the scariest part of all of this is gonna be, well, we're less than 24 hours away. So at about 4 o'clock, between 4 and 5 o'clock tomorrow is when the storm surge comes in. But that's also when you look at and this was, around 3:30, 4 o'clock this afternoon. They said that in 24 hours, so this means tomorrow at around 4 o'clock, is also when these tornadoes are supposed to happen.
Right. Then that's another thing I was going to mention. Make sure on your phones, they do have it on your phones now where you can turn off weather alerts, but if you're in this area of this storm, you probably want to turn on your weather alerts so while you're sleeping, because tornadoes and thunderstorms and all that stuff and flooding can happen
Very quick.
very quickly. So
And some states, like I'm from Michigan, and even in the winter when we don't get tornadoes, it doesn't matter what it is, what month it is, on the first Saturday of every month at 1 o'clock p.m. they test the tornado sirens. They'll go off for 10 minutes and you'll hear them everywhere. My husband's from South Carolina. When I went down to South Carolina for the first time, I was shocked that they didn't have tornado sirens. So if you're sleeping and you don't have the alerts activated on your phone, or some people sleep with cell phones off at night, what are you gonna do? You won't know. And a lot of houses in the South, don't have basements. So the risk of things happening, especially with how we've seen things, the weather can change so fast, thought that was quite strange and terrified the heck out of me. So just make sure you stay up to date on what's going on. We'll try to, if there's a bunch of tornado activity, I'm sure we'll pop on and monitor it.
Right. And that's the thing, and I didn't realize it till she came down here to South Carolina, that I didn't think about it. We used to have tornado sirens and stuff like that, but now we no longer have that. So, that's an interesting fact that, if you're sleeping, if you don't have your phone alerts turned on, you're not going to know. So that's something definitely to make sure that you do have your alerts turned on, because they made it pretty easy to turn them off now. So,
and you can even do them through a weather app, where that weather
Right.
app will give you an alert. So if there's not an alert, like a emergency broadcast system in your area, you'll still be made aware of it. And what I do with having family members in different states is I can select that city or that area. So if I'm not there, I can at least get an alert, a notification, and I can call that friend or family member that's getting an alert for that area and say, hey, you have a big storm in your area. There's a tornado warning.
yeah, so definitely make sure your alerts are on tonight before you go to bed, because as this moves in, you want to be, something to wake you up, especially as we get these outlier storms and stuff, as the hurricane's circling around in the Gulf. It's not even close to the mainland yet, but we're still getting stuff spinning off of it coming through the southeast. So you want to make sure you have your alerts on, so if something happens, you do wake up. So be sure that hasn't been turned off, or like Allie said, make sure you have an app and your alerts turn on that app, so it wakes you up if something's going on. So we do have, we're going to continue to watch this storm a little bit. We also have a manhunt going on in York County, South Carolina. I was going to turn the scanner on and let y'all listen to that, and let's see what's going on. with that right now. So let's we're listening as we're watching this storm to the scanner in York, South Carolina, York County, South Carolina, see what's going on with this manhunt. So let me turn the sound on for that for you.
Day is about normal to what we had earlier today. And thank you, Bobby. My graphics weren't advancing there. So there we go. And then we also in Sarasota, Manatee County, we have 4 to 7 feet of storm surge that is expected. So that remains about the same. Now that did update earlier today, but with this latest 5 o'clock update, that has not changed. And then moving into our inland locations, we are still expecting some severe weather out that way. Not necessarily storm surge, but you have to be aware that these are counties that are getting brushed by those outer bands where we have those stronger winds, and that's where we could have some isolated tornadoes start to spring up as well. Of course, we are keeping you updated online through your hurricane headquarters, and anytime you have a question, please make sure you go to our website, download our app, so you have that information in the palm of your hand.
Yeah. All right. So let's start right there. I'm going to start with tracking this where we're looking at it right now. We got those 5 p.m. numbers. Shows that it was at 85 mile per hour winds, right? And you can see the bigger picture there. This thing is looking good. It really is. It's getting a little bit better. There is some dry air kind of mixing in just a little bit right around the center, but not a lot. And we do expect it to continue to.
So as right now, that's where we're at with the storm. We're going to continue to monitor the storm tonight, and we'll come back on if anything significant happens to bring you the breaking news. We'll definitely be on a good bit tomorrow with the storm covering it live, but that's your most recent update. Also tonight, if you'd like to join us, if you like watching people gaming, we'll be over on our other channel, Overdose on Laughter, which is a link to in our channel description for Breaking News HQ. Please come in and join us. We'll be role playing as police officers in Grand Theft Auto. So if you enjoy that kind of thing and like to laugh, we welcome you to come over and watch it with us. So we hope everybody has a good night. If anything else breaking news comes in, we'll come in and update everybody. But thank you everybody that came through and watched this with us. We hope you have a great day. And again, stay safe, watch the weather, and if anything comes up, we will definitely come in and update you. Thank you everybody, and have a good night.
Breaking news right now. Turn the volume loud. Headlines top the charts. We inform your heart.